friends, and welcome to Front 9. I'm Rory. I'm a high handicap golfer. I've been playing for a year, and this is my first video. Now, I wanted to make this video because, well, firstly, it's a kind of celebration of playing for a year, but also to reflect on the things that I've learned. Hopefully, this video will be helpful for newbies like me, maybe people looking to get into the game, and maybe also people who actually teach the game as well. Now, I've got 8 lessons, so let's dive into my personal lessons from my first year of golf. Lesson 1, don't try to whack the ball. Now, when I started playing, I was, watching professional golfers and YouTube all-stars and all this kind of stuff, right? And they hit the ball so far. Of course, you want to go out there and you want to do the same. So I rock up to the driving range, try to hit it super far, look like an idiot. And in fact, I have took a long time to address that kind of characteristic in my game and understand that the harder I try to hit it, the ball doesn't go further to the target, it goes further away from the target, either to the left or to the right. So I really advise having that realization as early on in the process as possible. It's going to save you a lot of time, and instead to focus on the technique, the foundations of the golf swing, and then from that point forward you can add speed and you can add distance, but without the technique it's just not going to work. So lesson 1, don't whack the ball. Lesson 2 is to work from the ground up. Now, this might be a personal thing to me, but as I said, I tried to whack the ball, and I guess I understood or thought at the start that the golf swing revolved around the arms. So my swings have been very armsy. You can kind of see in this video here. So what I have done over the last few months is try to reset that and try to work from the ground up. So understanding, pressure differences in the feet and how the legs move and how the hips move. And that's just been to try to create some more consistency and again develop that really good technique where I can add the speed and add the power from there on further forwards, right? What I would reflect on in this is that I think I was given a club far too early on in the process of learning, and I would have actually liked to spend some more time at the start with non-club related drills, and really understanding the kind of pressure shifting and the way the legs and the hips move in the golf swing, rather than just trying to connect the golf club with the ball. I do think that some way our body is able to get the club to the ball, and so I think that's potentially a little bit easier to pick up over time than kind of resetting and going back to the lower body movement. Lesson 3 is the importance of your setup. Now, I would say that this is one of the really good things that I was taught right from the start, how to set up over the golf ball, in terms of how far away you are, where your feet are in relation to the golf ball. Now, have I implemented that consistently over the last year? Absolutely not. Have I implemented it on the course consistently? Probably more so. Have I implemented it on the range? Way less. And I think the interesting thing here is that if you don't apply this on the range and when you're practicing, then you will be making far more bad shots, potentially just because your setup is different than it should be. And I think that results in quite a lot of bad conclusions that you can make from how good or bad your swing is, and lead you down rabbit holes that you don't necessarily need to be in. When if you just took that 2-3 seconds to ensure you're in the right setup position before taking every shot, then you know where the problems are and where the problems aren't. So again, just applying some consistency to the swing through the setup process. I also think actually if you apply it on the range, then it gives you that time to hit less balls, right? And that's also a problem that we all have as beginners, is that we go there and we just try to whack balls and whack balls and whack balls, and it's not really a productive process at all. So yeah, make sure to me, this is my lesson, make sure I stick to that setup. Lesson 4 is the pre-shot process. Now, everyone has their own personal pre-shot process, and that's fine. What I have noticed in myself is that I have taken a lot of really good shots that have ended up very badly simply because I wasn't including the proper aiming methods within my pre-shot process. So what does that mean? I mean, I set up over the ball correctly, I take a couple of really good practice swings, but then I'm aimed far too far right or far left, and I make a really good connection with the ball, and instead of it going in the fairway or on a green, it goes 15 yards left into the woods or into a bunker. And that's actually really depressing, right? When you make that really good shot and it goes somewhere terrible, especially when you're just learning. And there aren't that many good shots that you're taking around the course. So taking that time in the pre-shot process to ensure that you're aiming in the right direction is super important, not only for your score, but also just for having some fun. I'd also say, again, this is something that can be applied to the range. If you take that time to aim your shots, again, probably going to hit less shots on the range, but also the quality of each of those shots is going to be better because you know that your body knows that you're really aiming for something and you're trying to achieve something with that shot. It's not just a mindless kind of swing. So yeah, let's take some aim. Lesson 5 is to know and be honest about your distances. So reflection from my side over the past year, I'd say for about 6 months, maybe 7-8 months, I was saying that my 7-iron would go 150 yards. Now, that was not an average distance, that was a maximum distance. And so if I was needing to take a 150 yard shot, I'd pull out my 7-iron and it would go short. And that means that I could have gone into water hazards, I could have gone into bunkers, I could have, or just left it short on the fairway. Again, that's kind of depressing even if you make a really good connection, right, and it still goes short. Like I say, that's just an issue of being overly optimistic about how far you can hit it and kind of having that confirmation bias about which good shots mean something, right? So confirming to yourself, oh well, when I hit it right, then it goes 150 yards, but realistically it's going to be less than that. This is super important, right? Because like I say, you got to steer clear of hazards, you got to steer clear of any issues on the course, and being honest and knowing those distances is kind of one of the foundations of that. So yeah, be honest and lose the ego about your distances. The score is what matters, not how far you hit it. Lesson 6 is to practice your wedges and your putter. Now, again, whole learning process starts with your irons, and you want to get really good at those irons, and then you want to progress onto the driver because that's the big stick and we all like to hit the driver. And that's all great, it's foundational, it really needs to happen for you to be able to play golf well and to have a good session out there, or a good day on the course. But 40% of your shots come with your putter, and that's going to make a huge difference to your score. And then I think around 20% come from your wedges. So when we're practicing and when we're learning, how much time are we really spending with those clubs, which make 60% of the difference in terms of the score? Guarantee you that most people don't spend 60% of their time practicing those clubs, and that's kind of crazy, right? I know personally I spent probably about 5%, if that, for the first kind of 6 to 8 months in terms of practicing with those clubs. I'm trying to do more with those clubs now, and it's had a really good impact on my game. So yeah, practicing wedges and putter is just super important, mainly for scoring, but also I guess again for morale, right? Because if you have a great kind of driver shot and followed by an iron shot and you're around the green and then you duff a couple of chips and 4-putt, I mean, it's a sad day. It's a very sad day. So yeah, I think practicing wedges and putter Maybe not something that people think of first of all, and maybe not something that we pay enough attention to as beginners. Lesson 7 is to learn course management. Now, one of the fun things and kind of the different things about golf is that we're not really playing against anyone else. We're not playing against our playing partners. We're not playing against anyone else who's on the course. We're playing against the course itself, and I guess we're playing against the course architect. And obviously that guy or girl who's designed the course has laid out certain tricks and certain hazards that we shouldn't go near. However, maybe our ego gets in the way, or we just kind of got that one mode of thinking where we need to hit it far, and that's how we get in trouble, right? So course management is, I guess, based around understanding how far you hit your clubs, how far to hazards, how far the hole is, how long the hole is, and how you can kind of piece those things together to get you to the hole in the most efficient and safest way possible, given the quality of your game. I've applied this, basically by utilizing Google Maps and utilizing scorecards you can get online and just drawing it down in a handbook. I do need to invest in a rangefinder to kind of validate that on a course. But what I've found is when I've applied it, it's just been a much funner game because I don't go in those really horrible hazards. And I'm swinging easy. Easy peasy Japanesey, and I'm having fun, right? When the quality of shots are better, the quality of the day is better. So that's it. Learn course management. It's not that complicated, and it's a good way to lower your score and improve your day. Also, actually, when you learn the course management, it's easier to assess which parts of your game are weaker, because you've already kind of got that mental note to say, I'm going to hit a driver here, and then I'm going to hit a 7-iron, and then I'm going to hit a wedge, right? If you know that when you've made that plan, every time that you've hit that wedge, it's gone 10 yards to the left or to the right, then you know that you probably need to go back to the course and work on that. Alternatively, if it's your putter that's weak, then you can work on that as well. So yeah, I think it's really helpful just both on the course and also then when you need to go back and practice and improve your game. Quick fixes to me are a complete myth. And I'm specifically talking about quick fixes that you're going to find on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok or wherever, right? Like, how many clickbait titles have you seen which just say, do this one thing to fix your driver, right? Or do this one thing to fix your slice. Add 10 yards by doing this, right? Yes, maybe the advice works. Maybe technically speaking, it's correct. But applying that to your game as a beginner who doesn't understand the golf swing itself, you're just destined for trouble. Right? How do you know that when you do this one thing, you're not going to cause another problem in your swing? The other thing is generic advice can't be applied to individuals, because the golf swing and the feeling of the golf swing and what you need to do is entirely subjective. Yeah, there might be analogies in there that they use, but the beauty of having a coach with you is that they can walk you through the feel versus the real. And they can point you when you're getting it right and when you're getting it wrong. You can't do that with a video that's on YouTube, which is applying a generic kind of analogy or a generic kind of fix to many different people. I just think it's a false economy, personally. I think that realistically, when you look at it, if you watch a YouTube video and then you spend the money to go on a range and try to do that, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and then you do that and you go on a course and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You could have spent that money getting some really good advice from a coach and then taking it on the course, once. Right, it's probably about the same amount of money that you spend in there, and the risk versus the reward of those two kind of ways forward, is heavily favored in terms of getting a coach. Looking back at my own journey, especially after I started playing on a course, I wish I had taken more lessons then and not paid enough attention, or paid as much attention to what's out there on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. I've definitely had my head in a buzz on a number of occasions just because of that. So there you go. I think quick fixes are a myth. I think golf swing's a big old building block that you have to put together, and you know, you got to learn about the golf swing, and you got to get some professional advice. So there you go. There are my 8 lessons. Yeah, it's been a fun year. I really enjoyed learning golf. I'm still learning. Hopefully the next year is going to be as fun and hopefully not as challenging, although I'm sure it's going to be. Really looking forward to it. And, you know, I want to make some more content around golf and my kind of learning process, and hopefully my journey as I improve. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So if you want to see more content, and if you have any suggestions on content you'd like to see, please do subscribe, comment, and, you know, of course, liking the video would be really nice. I'd really like to hear if you're a kind of newbie like me, if you felt the same way or have the same kind of reflections on your first year or first kind of few years learning. If you're a beginner, is there anything you'd like to know about how it's been for the first year? What's the level of commitment? You know, any of the tips that you'd like to hear or understand? And then, you know, also if maybe there's any coaches or really good players out there that, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Is there anything interesting in my perspective on learning? So yeah, please do comment below. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. So thank you very much, friends. Thank you for your time, and yeah, see you soon.